The Highland Hills tower the skies. But the shadows they cast draw the spirits near. After all, tomorrow is born.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on Friday night again. Me
Welcome,
and
guys.
my co-host Drew here next to me. Now, we might be joined by some people, but we'll see if they want to come on or not. And if they don't, well, it doesn't matter. You know, it's quite fine. Well, we're going to be talking tonight about the squares in Savannah, Georgia, in the United States, because obviously there's some people that are going on where Savannah, Georgia is. And this is it was actually one of our subscribers. It was a friend of our son that actually told about it. It was Mike, the Naked Bigfoot's son, that suggested this last Friday. So I think it's. I looked this place up. Drew, have you looked it up? Have you seen how haunted this place is?
I've not looked it up, Christopher, no, but I do know about the place. I do a little, I don't know loads, but I know about what other ghost hunters have all seen and things.
I mean, I'm going to show you a picture.
Amazing.
So I'll show you what the place looks like first of all, and then we'll let it fill up a little bit. So there's a lot of people that come in like maybe 5 minutes later. They don't know where we are, right? So what we'll do is I uploaded about 40 pictures. I kid you not. It took me ages. So we're going to be talking about tonight is old Savanna, Georgia. And this is the squares. Now, see, this is the interesting thing about this place. Every square is like a graveyard, and they've built houses next to them.
Weird the way it's built, isn't it?
This is ridiculous. This is like, how can I explain this in real terms, in the British terms? Imagine London or Glasgow or Edinburgh, right, having its own private Greyfriars graveyard at every block.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I mean, I just don't know. So, guys, we've about 5 minutes to fill up, and then we'll start talking about some interesting, scary things. Who's in the chat? Let's start at the beginning there. We have Stephen there. Welcome. We have PWI Spiritual Investigators. Welcome. We have Stephanie. Get that right, or we'll end up in the jar. Phoenix. We have that. My Mystical Love and Light there. Welcome in, guys. It's good to see you.
Welcome in, Phoenix, says.
So, Drew, you've been enjoying the good weather?
I just my grandson phoned me at 6:30 at night, asked if I could take him a walk, and I said no. And then he phoned me back and he said, "I'm sorry for asking, Gran," and put the phone down. So he broke my heart. So I phoned him back and I said, "Okay, come up and I'll take you a quick walk." So I just dropped him off practically at 9:30. So
well, there's something very unusual happening in Scotland. It has not rained for an entire week. And it's been blue skies and I've seen the sun. And it's to be even warmer next week, 22, 23. So is this summer finally? Oh, there's my brother in the chat. Hello, Drew. It's good to see you.
Welcome, Drew.
So what I'll do is I'll run through some of the pictures and I'll give you an idea of how vast this place is. I mean, it's obviously the city. What's that, Stephanie? Went to Savannah on vacation a few years ago. It is a beautiful and creepy as you are walking down the sidewalks. You are walking on graves. It is really beautiful and magical place. I mean, imagine that. I mean, that's just crazy.
I know.
Isn't it?
Yep.
So I actually hunted. I had to go dig deep for these pictures. I dig deep.
The city itself is beautiful, though, isn't it? It really is a beautiful place.
So I've actually got some houses that are haunted. I've also got the sidewalks. Let me see if I can bring one up. By magic. There we go. That's a sidewalk there, guys, of Savannah, Georgia. I've never been to America, right? But if I had to go anywhere to ghost hunt, I think I would like to go here.
Yeah, I think I probably would. There or somewhere like rural America, like Virginia or somewhere like that, or Tennessee or something.
It's absolutely amazing, and see the architecture. I've got some stories, right, that I'm going to read out tonight, Drew, and some of them are interesting because some of them are today. Where there was one woman in particular, her there. So, but
Oh,
we'll come to
wow.
that. We'll come to
Right.
that in a little while. So I think you'll find this interesting. But anyway, let's see. So I've actually got a map of where all the graves are.
Right.
Good to remember that. I mean, see, this is the thing that's for me and Drew, as is obviously we're from Scotland and England, and this country is much, much older than America is.
Yeah.
Right? And you look at Greyfriars. When was Greyfriars made? What was
Oh
that?
my
About?
goodness. It was the 1600s, I think.
Even before that, there was,
Before that.
there's a graveyard in my village from the 12th century, right? In the 12th century, America hadn't even been discovered yet.
See, that's it, isn't it?
But it's obviously a lot bigger than that is now. I mean, that's let's see, I have to move my mic. 1818, right? So it's not that long ago for someone
200
like
years now.
us, because we've got castles and all that kind of stuff run about us. But for the Americans, that's quite old.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very fascinating thing. So this is where I actually wanted to Pete to come in tonight, because his dad, Mike the Naked Bigfoot, done research into this, because he was telling me on Twitter that a lot of these children that are buried here died of the yellow fever, right? But all those souls, all those lost souls, attracted bad things for the swamps. Mystical things for the swamps, all right. And I would rather he told us that part, because, and if he doesn't come on the night, we'll have to do we'll have to do one with him on it, because I think coming from him it would be a lot better, obviously.
Yeah.
But anyway, these are the squares here, guys. If this is a kind of map, as you can see, obviously that's city blocks, and each one of those squares is a park.
Yeah.
Now, let's see, where are we? I've got some black and white photos here. George Historical Society, what do you think of that? That's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at the clothes.
Very Victorian looking.
Yeah. I mean, but you can take your dog for a walk through the park, and this is what's in the parks. Everywhere.
Cemeteries everywhere.
Graves.
It's just a weird.
Aye.
It's just never known anywhere else. I don't think there's any other city like it, to be honest, anywhere in the world.
There's no. The only one I would say to have as many like graves in it would be Paris and the catacombs.
Yeah.
But that's underground and you're not allowed in, and you can't see it. Right. But
so what is the actual history of the oldest part of it? How was it built, Savanna?
It was obviously a trading. It was a trading city to do with the cotton and the. You got to remember it played a big part in the Civil War.
Yeah,
it played a big part in the Civil War. The South and the West. It was. I think there was a lot of deaths with the Confederacy, and obviously it did play a big part in slavery. A really big part in slavery. I found out that what this is quite bad. This is a lot of slave traders worked there, and the boats would come in and they would march them off the boats. I've actually, where's that map? You'll see on this map, you see how you've got the river there, and there's the boats coming in. So that's the boats coming in, Savanna, right? And a lot of them had slaves on them. I mean, that's what they did then. It was slave trading, And here's one actually here. It's nighttime, but look at that's the big steamers. And in old cowboy films, you would get the big steamers.
Yeah, it really is a nice city. It would be beautiful all lit up at night. But as you said, there's a lot of spooks come out at night.
Well, what do you think of one of the churches?
Look at that. That's in Leek. That's in Leek with that one in Edinburgh. Yeah. So if it's a big black one in Edinburgh, it's a black church.
But as you walk up this, as like Stephanie says, as you walk along the sidewalks, you come across things like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it?
Or you come across things like that.
There's graves in every corner.
I mean,
that's what they call it, is the city of graves, is it not?
Yeah, It's the City of Graves, and it's there's some really dark stories. So I'll come off of YouTube. I know the mods are doing good jobs. Thank you, my Mystical, for being a good mod there in the chat.
Thank you.
So I've got the top 10. I'm not going to do all 10 of them. I've only picked a selection of them because it'll take forever, right? The top 10 most haunted places in Savannah. So Savannah, Georgia is one of the South's oldest cities, home to a beautiful antebella. Ken the antebella kind of houses. I think I've actually got one.
I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know,
The big plantation houses.
That kind of thing. I've got them.
Mansion, half mansion.
Is that one?
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
And you've got this type of thing. Aye, that type of thing. Look at that. Yeah. That's just ridiculously big, right? But Americans like things big. I don't know. It's a strange thing. But anyway, it's a beautiful. Right. Wales as a paranormal hotspot. It's one of the most haunted places in the world. Savannah as a city has experienced a multitude of hardships since founding in 1733. So the city was built obviously in 1733. Many believe the dark events have left the permanent stain on Savannah, right? Manifesting as often as a violent hauntings, frequent paranormal activity. I mean, it's just crazy. And the battlefields and hospitals. You think about guys, you think about the Civil War. You know, just the Civil War, the war with England, the war with Great Britain when obviously we ruled. Well, not me because I'm Scottish, but did you know there was actually people from this area that went to fight alongside the Americans to kick the British out?
All right. Scottish didn't want them there either.
Because the Scottish people did settle in Savannah.
Yeah.
So we went over there to help kick out the English, basically. So let me see. Let's see. There's that.
Well, we're English friends now. We are all friends now, guys. Scottish and English, we are.
We're all friends.
We're all friends.
We don't fight anymore. Well, now and again, only at foot games. But that's a story for another time. That's a story for another time, as Mike would say.
Another story for another time, Mike. Wait, no, take it a drink.
I'm working on my hands here. I'll get a zesty beverage.
I'll take a drink for him. I'll take a drink for you.
So this building here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Marsh Hall House, another of Savannah's haunted historic inns. The hotel has reputation as the haunted location, is mostly based on its represented use as an emergency hospital throughout the decades once Union Field hospitals. During the Civil War, twice more during the Savannah's yellow fever epidemics. See, I picked this one because I found it interesting how Pete said about the yellow fever and the kids. So I just thought this would be quite interesting. It's guests at the Marsh Hall House have reported to the sound of children running up and down the halls, seeing shadow figures and apparitions, witnessing basically phantoms walking through the walls, turning on by themselves, so lights turning on by themselves. So you've got poltergeist activity. You've got lights coming on by themselves, ladies and gentlemen. I can't see the chat, the new guys, so maybe Drew can see the chat. You've got things moving on their own. You've basically got all the poltergeist traits. Guests are lying in their beds at night and kids are seen running through doors. I found this quite interesting because it was Pete that said about the yellow fever and the children dying.
Yeah.
And you think about the history of this place, yellow fever, lots of people dying, Civil War, and also the other wars.
It's definitely got to be a hotspot for activity.
I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It really is. It's
who in the chat would say? There's a few rooms in there.
I think it's got quite a few. I mean, it's quite a big building.
Is that one of those buildings that go in a square? It's actually a square and it's got like a courtyard inside.
I think so. I think
I know what that is. I think there's been a few ghost hunters in that.
There's been ghost adventures. Oh my God, I mentioned that Mike the Naked Bigfoot comes
Oh
in
my
the moon.
goodness, you had to mention them. You
I
could
didn't
also
mean
Ghost
it.
Hunters.
Don't come for me, Mike. Go
Tap,
for Zach Bagans instead.
Taps
You
has
know,
been there as well.
aye, Taps has been there. I'm just going to go to the chat now and say, right, guys, would any of you like to go and stay the night in that haunted location? Who in the chat would like to stay there?
Welcome, Christine. Welcome,
Hey,
Iron
Christine.
Fire.
Hey, Iron Fire
Yeah.
Horse. It's good to see you. What? How many is put a number 1 in the chat if you would spend the night there, or put a 0 in the chat if you wouldn't stay there?
The thing is, I would like a few people to go. If it is a big square building, you could have a team in each side, if you like, and see if we could get them all to communicate with each other. Oh, everybody's saying one.
See, I'm having my drink now, but I said it's a story for another time. See, every time I say
Definition.
that now, you're going to have to take a drink. You know?
Well, that's it. We'll have to do it anyway for Mike. We've got to
I'll do it
keep
for
his
Mike.
wee twerk things alive. Welcome in, Stockport. Definitely, yeah, you've got to give it a go.
The second location. Now, I've already showed you the second location. Now, let's see, where is it? Where is it? This place has got a name. It's called Factors Walk. Factors Walk is now home to many boutique shops. What is a boutique shop, Drew?
It's basically little, they sell dresses, little t-shirts, basically for women. It's like all women's dresses and things.
Well, there you go then. Nothing for the men, nothing for the men. No, you know,
no, really, no.
No. Shops, but has a dark history that, right, it's a charming modern exterior. Walk is known for being the original home of the cotton exchange, oh dear, where the industry standard prices for cotton were determined and where many enslaved people were forced to labour. It's also believed that the Factors Walk stood witness to the passage of hundreds, if not thousands, of newly arrived slaves who were soon sold into slavery. It's thought that of these slaves had left a dark energy imprint on the Factors Walk. Many people have reported witnessing dark shadow figures moving along the cobblestone streets at night. Strange apparitions moving with chains clanking. Oh, so that's the chains. That's like the what do you call it? The
slaves.
The chains of the slaves. Can you imagine that?
I know. They poor people stuck in a loop, probably.
Oh my God. I watched a thing about it, and honestly, it's absolutely terrible.
Heartbreaking.
It really, it's no that. It's the things they used to do to the slaves.
I know.
And I'm not even getting into that because that is a story for another time. Here's my juice. That's a story for another time. And everybody, link up or put the icon in the chat for a beer glass in the chat. A story for another time, you know. I mean, that's just
the full place is haunted. So think about that energy. You go up one street and it's a certain energy. You turn another street, it's another certain energy. So as you're going along these streets, you're having to be focused, probably having to ground yourself in the street you go on.
But at the same time, there's graves all the way along the streets.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait till Mystical gets to go there to see how she feels about it.
Oh my God. Now, let me see if I've got the other one. So, everybody in the chat, who would go there? I bet you all would. Come on. I know you girls. You should be at the boutique shops. All us guys would be away to the kind of inns to make sure that it was fine, you know.
Yeah, we taste the ale.
I don't know if the Americans drink ale or that. I don't know. I kind of like their beer and stuff like that. So let me see. I've only picked a small amount of these. Right, I've got this place here, which is interesting. The Pirate's House. That sounds kind of...
Actually looks like the Lizzie Borden house, doesn't it? It must have been a style away back then.
The Pirate's House. It's the Pirate's House. Occupying a 250-year-old building. The Pirate's House is a restaurant. You got to have a meal at the same time. As one of Savannah's most popular estates. So that's a big word. As well as one of the most haunted places in the city.
Right.
It's believed that the Pirate's House is possibly the oldest building, in the state of Georgia, and around the time of original, it played the host to the Cedar cast of characters. Was that? I just try to read it, guys, because I need to enlarge it in my hand, what you call it, because it's my phone that I'm reading off. In the 1700s, common occurrence of seaport cities such as Savanna was the act of Shanghaiing. You came at that, didn't you?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I've just come out the pub. That was a lovely meal and a lovely pint, and then somebody whacks you in the head, and you wake up aboard a ship.
Yep.
Out at sea.
Put you off.
It's oh my god, men are capturing them and forcing them into servitude aboard ships. It's believed that a tunnel running beneath the Pirate's House was used to drag unconscious men, I should be laughing at this, from the tavern to the nearby dock, where they would be also sold into servitude. I thought the tunnels have since been collapsed. Employees of the Pirate's House have reported seeing apparitions and shadow figures in the restaurant. Also reported that after closing time, footsteps can be heard pacing back and forth throughout the restaurant and beneath the restaurant. There's a dark, eerie feel and dark shadows move. Oh, so what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? For us guys, would you go in there at night, for maybe a zesty beverage, a meal to
I think
wake
downstairs must be pretty big then, the way they're talking. It must be a big cellar.
It must be quite a big place, because it's the under the stairs. It's got like a tunnel passageway, So there you go. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Let's all go out for a meal. Oh, that was lovely. Let's get pissed. That was lovely. You all walk out, somebody whacks you over the head, and then you wake up the next day 40 miles out at sea, and the guy's like that. Off to work's sailor.
I know. That's you working for your keep now for the next 50 days.
Aye. It was usually like 2 years or something like that.
Oh, was it? Oh, dear. I was guessing.
Right, so the next location. Now, there's so many locations, right, is this one. And I find this building beautiful, but strange at the same time. The Keyhole, this is a very strange dome. It's called the Keyhole House, right? Another example of Savanna's beautiful architecture. The Keyhole, which I think that is the word, by the way, because I'm probably mispronouncing this, but I'm sorry, I'm Scottish. House is one of the most luxurious historical inns in the city. Has to offer, originally built in 1892, which is actually, it's no that old. 1892 is
that's
no
old.
For us.
No
for us. The Keyhole House was one of the private residences of William and Anne Keyhole. And their 10 children. Wow.
It's big.
Yeah, 10 children. You can tell that they tell the early nights in their days, didn't they? The early nights in their days. Oh dear. Right.
You can tell he was a sailor.
Aye, that's a story for another time. That one.
Another drink, Mike. Oh my goodness.
Another night. We'll have to go for a story another time. We'll get into the birds and the bees, or Mystical will tell you in the chat what happens there.
It's up to you, Mystical.
Anyway, it's up to you. You can do it. But anyway, right. The Keyhole House serves as this is interesting. The Keyhole House was a private residence by William and Anne Keyhole. Their 10 children, right? And the Keyhole House served as a funeral home for the better part of the 20th century, which only adds to its aurora of mystery and darkness. Oh my God. Did Dave Schrader not go to this place?
I think, I don't know.
I'm sure he did an investigation. Anyway, it's believed that 2 of the Keyhole children died at the home as a result of careless accident, and their spirits are thought to still roam the mansion. Anne and William themselves are also commonly reported apparitions throughout the inn, frequently appearing in the room 201 and the mansion. So, everybody in the chat, 1 if you'd stay there overnight, or 0 if you wouldn't?
I would stay.
Come on.
I'm a 1.
I'm a 1. I'm a 1
Yes,
too.
haven't you? Lots of people had big families here in Canada too. 10 or 20 children was common. Oh my goodness!
Iron Fire Horse. Early nights.
Yeah, that's
Early
exactly
nights.
what it
No
is.
TV and magazines in their days.
It's easy
Terrible.
to investigate on a full tummy, Mystical says.
No.
Oh, it's a good, nice place to. I would love to stay a night somewhere like that and feel the full experience. If you're allowed to walk around anyway, and get the full experience of it.
What? My mystical living light? My dad's was 17, 13. You had 13 sisters and brothers?
13, wow. I thought my gran and dad was bad. They had 11 in their family, I do believe it was, my dad. 11? Wow.
My God. It just shows you.
14, sis? Wow, PWI Sheriff says 14. It's crazy, isn't it?
In the name all it's holy, you know. I find this place is interesting. What do you think of this one, Drew?
Yeah. But one's
this is called the Gribble House. They had strange names, didn't they?
Yeah, they did so.
And Savanna's own version of the Vascaline axe, Velasca axe murders. Velasque axe murders, that's it.
Yeah, Velasque.
The Gribble House was the site of a brutal murder of 3 women in 1909. 70-year-old Elizabeth Gribble, the owner of the house, was found early one December morning with her skull beaten in. Oh dear. While her daughter, Carrie, had been similarly brutalized in addition to having her throat slit. The third woman, Maggie Hunter, had been beaten nearly to death and her throat slit. Oh my God. But she was able to tell police that her engaged husband had committed the crime before she succumbed to her injuries. Oh my God.
Wow.
And died. Her husband, J.C. Hunter, was tried and found guilty of the crime and originally sentenced to death by hanging. However, the court changed the punishment to life in prison just one day before his execution. Immediately, Hunter was paranoid by the governor of Georgia, released after my reading's terrible, diabolical.
Christopher, you're doing great.
By the governor of Georgia and released after spending only 12 years in prison. See, why it makes you wonder, did he have like money or something? Did he pay somebody off?
Yeah.
That's actually really interesting. Perhaps his injustice for Hunter's release is what is caused the hauntings. Where the Gribble House stood, the original house was torn down and a garage since has been built in its place, but it's believed the spirits of the women who were violently murdered there still make their presence known from shadow figures, poltergeist activity, and dark shadows lurking. See, they're probably pissed off that you're after.
Black energy, dark energy, yep, for sure.
I mean, they're probably extremely pissed off that.
Yep. It makes you wonder then, if this type of thing is just, you need to ask Mystical this, or Uncle Danny or something, or Sherry even, is that what typically happens then? Something happens in the house, like a murder or something, and then instantly the good spirits feel the need to leave because there's that black energy type of thing comes, a dark energy. Is that what typically is happening in murder locations? Any good spirit there is then uncomfortable because there's a crazy event happened. It makes you wonder.
It's like how we talked about all the poltergeist cases in all the houses. What happens if something happened there before those houses were there?
We were saying that they had the typical storm, some of these houses, because some of them had the water, which was the well. Some of them had the coal, which was the fire.
Aye.
And a coal fire. And some of them, obviously, the air is the actual spirit. But if you try and match up each element, it makes you wonder if the minute they take out the coal and the coal fire, that does the haunting stop then because they've not got the 4 elements. In fact, they've not even got the fire. It could be the fire that actually brings the bad energies through. Who knows? But it seems to be that it gets to a certain level after the coal fire shuts down. It's another theory.
I think there's something that attracts them. With poltergeists in particular, there's something to do with younger people. There's something with that relationship, and there's something. I think it's to do with the land. I honestly think it's to do with the land. I think something was there before anything. You know, I think if you look back far enough, something happened on that. How do we know that it's Enfield poltergeist? How do we know that there was maybe Roman soldiers killed there and they were pissed off?
Exactly. You just don't know. The history books don't tell you everything.
So I've got loads of pictures to go through the night. We've got to be here at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I'm not going anywhere.
So this place is interesting. I found this place really interesting. This is called the Colonel Park Cemetery.
Right.
As the oldest burial ground in Savanna, the Colonel Park Cemetery is thought to be one of the city's most haunted locations. The cemetery was established in 1750, which is, again, it's not very old for me and Drew, and is the final resting place of the Civil War soldiers, fever victims, and countless victims of violence. The cemetery's most famous paranormal residence is that of Rainey Rodelier, a man who was convicted of murder and believed to have been hanged from a tree in the cemetery. Visitors to the historic site have reported seeing a tall shadow figure circling through the headstones, and the figure is seen to commonly look rune like that, right?
Yeah.
And also known to walk the grounds at night. So, look, it's a graveyard, right? It's a great it's a cemetery. Did you know the difference? A graveyard,
one's got a church.
One's got a church, and a cemetery's just.
I don't know what one it is. So is it the graveyard that's got a church?
Graveyard's got a church, and the cemetery's a field. But
okay.
Look, there's a guy hung there. It might be him. It might not be him. But there's people in there for yellow fever, for the Civil War, to the Revolutionary Wars. God knows there's people in there, right? I mean, it's going to be haunted. I mean, let's face it, it's the most haunted city probably on the planet. It's going to be, and we know that ghosts can travel.
Yeah.
Right. So what's to say that, like, say that house I was talking about back there, that the women for there are no walking to this place, are travelling to this place? How do we not know that they're buried in there?
Yeah, maybe they walk back and forward for the place they were murdered to the graveyard and just confusion. Who knows?
Aye. See, there is a location that I did pick, and it's got a very dark history. And I found this place, and I thought to myself, this is an interesting building. Now, I'll bring you to this one. What's your first thoughts, Drew? What do you think it was? Well, I'll have a drink in my Lucasade.
Maybe a school?
Yep. Come on.
Probably a bloody convent or something. Yep. Usually they're in the
Come on in with that, ladies and gentlemen. What was it?
A bordello pub.
Yep. I'll give you a clue. You go there when you're nobile.
Or hospital.
Yeah. Right. This is the old Calendar Hospital, built in 1804. The Calendar Hospital was one of Georgia's first hospitals and is the second oldest, which is, again, is not for me, constantly operational hospital in the United States, originally built as a medical factory for the faculty.
Facility.
We'll just got a facility. Okay. For the sick and wounded seamen, Calendar Hospital had a mental tested with arrival of Savannah's yellow fever. See, this is interesting. This is where a lot of, obviously, the yellow fever victims went to.
Yeah.
Yellow fever. What was yellow fever? What was it, like a cold or something? I've never really looked this up.
Is that not what I think the sailors brought that in? It's probably, I think it was a sickness bug.
I think it was like a cold or something. It was like a weird kind of type. I'll need to look that up. I researched that.
I think that was a sickness one and diarrhea one.
The yellow fever was one of the most destructive epidemics ever to hit the United States. Spread by mosquito bites, yellow fever laid waste to many seaside cities, swampy regions in the 1820s. Nearly 700 Savannan citizens died from the disease, including 2 doctors who were infected while trying to tend to the patients. The old hospital is said to have a morgue tunnel, now that's interesting, running beneath the foundations where the newly dead patients were carted off to the burial grounds. It's thought that during the yellow fever epidemic, there was so many people dying each day that the tunnel was piled with fever victims, oh my God, who were eventually buried in a mass grave. Visitors to the site have reported witnessing apparitions near the tunnel, as well as the courtyard area of the hospital, but also some of the victims were still alive and they were in the tunnels.
God.
They were dying. They were screwed, basically.
Basically just left there to scream and die. That's terrible.
My God. Let's go back to the chat and see what you're all saying here. That's just...
Hi, Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Man.
Mosquito fever. It's good to see you, Pete. Pete, if you want to join us, I sent you the link through Twitter. You just need to click on it and come in and tell us a wee bit about
totally
the
up to you, buddy. No pressure.
No pressure, bud, if you don't want to join. But
that's crazy, though, isn't it?
Think of the strange creatures. Think of the strange creatures that were feeding off of the victims.
God. And they know that you're going to die. You're just lying there with basically deceased bodies around you, knowing that you're just next. And you're probably watching these things take your neighbour's soul. Oh, that would be torture. No wonder there's negative energies come.
As I say, I'm going to leave that for Pete. Maybe he wants to bring out a video. Maybe he'll bring out a Pete in his channel. If you could maybe bring out like a video of Savanna, because I don't even want to risk getting into what strange creatures came in, because I have no clue. I mean, can you imagine what that tunnel's like right now?
But probably they mad creepy things and things that crawl on the ceiling and on the flares and things and just
I know. I mean, talk about demonic and stuff like that. I would say it was something far, far older, something ancient that came over with a lot of travellers, something that was already there before white man came.
Probably something that's at the likes of the places, that big place in the hill and things, what you call it, with the, I think it's actually closed just now. It was for the victims that couldn't breathe, what you call it. Sanitarium, the sanitarium.
Oh, sanitariums, aye.
See, because in that death tunnel in that sanitarium, I can't remember, Waverly Hills, is it? Waverly Hills? Anyway, that sanitarium, there's footage. I can't remember what team it was, to be honest. I think it was actually Nick Roth in Lockdown, where they did actually capture a black creature. Somebody was filming him, and behind them, they seen a black creature thing crawling along the floor like this, going in and out all the buildings. And they say that that's what that is. It's actually a creature of death that just goes around and waiting on people dying, and that's what it does, is devours your soul. But that's an ancient thing. That's no like anything that's conjured or anything. That's something that appears at places where there's loads of death.
I'm just going to bring up, there's Pete saying something there. Dad looked into the bull hag activity in Savanna. See, Pete, you need to come in and tell us about the bull hag. I would love to learn about this, because it's see that oh my God, I've heard that name somewhere. I'm sure I heard.
Tells us anything.
I'm sure your dad said something about that one night, but I can't remember when it was. Did he ever talk about that on his channel?
Yeah, he talked about that, man.
He talked about the Skinner man.
I've never heard the boo hag.
He talked about the Skinner man, and he went to see the Skinner man. That's.
He done 3, I think, on the Skinner man. I think it was 3 parts.
everybody in the chat, but one of you would spend one night in those tunnels where the corpses were carried.
My soul is staying in my body. Thank you. Myself.
Would you not stay in it?
No.
For one night? Oh, come on.
There's a thing about me. I want to talk to
Christine's with me. I'm number one. Christine's number one. Come on,
I'll stay upstairs and you guys can go down and investigate that.
What?
See, I want to just talk to normal spirits like you and I that's passed away. Just hear their story. Maybe the older the better. I don't want to contact crazy things.
but do you find it'd be interesting to encounter? Obviously.
Oh yeah,
I don't know what the bohag is.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue what the bohag is. I mean, I don't know if it's got to be like something that's got to suck my soul out or something like.
Probably.
Pete, what is the bohag? Could you write it in the chat? What is the bohag? Because it just sounds odd. That's an odd name and a scary name.
Devourer of soul sounds like, yeah. Somebody that just and the hag suggests a woman, because they usually say hag when like a older witchy haggy looking thing's there. So it's probably something that's took the form of an old crone. But then again, they usually go into beautiful women and go into the forest and for any men that's lurking around lost, and they'll say,
see that's the thing. If you Mystical Life and Iron Firehorse and Sherry were doing an investigation, out comes the swamp would be David Hasselhoff with his leather jacket, and he said, "Oh, hello, ladies, come with me into the swamp."
Yeah, something like that.
Was that the bohag steals
big blonde hair or something, and they'll say, "Look." Then the minute you touch them, they turn into an old hag.
I think you're right there. The bohag steals your breath and wears your skin.
Oh,
so basically, somebody you don't want to meet in a dark night.
Yeah.
I've decided, Christine, you're going in the tunnel first.
He's sending you in. Remember, Christopher wants to lock somebody in somewhere. Be careful.
When you find somebody locked away somewhere, you know, there's nobody that wants to be locked in a dungeon for the night.
Chris, you do realise it's going to end up being you that gets locked in somewhere. You do realise that.
Can I have my phone?
Yes.
Oh, we're fine there. I'll play some Boom Beach while I'm in there. You know, it shouldn't be that bad.
You're meant to be filming.
I'm
and
fine.
Feeling experiences.
I mean, I've heard this. I mean, remember that episode that Mike did, and it was what was that? It was something. It was like Big Feet, but the Bigfoot, and what was it? It was Swampy Grounds. What was that? What was the one?
Everybody, I don't know what it's called, but there's been a few crazy things near swamps.
He was in it. He had to leave before nightfall or something like that because the Bigfoot creatures. It was some place it was somewhere in America, somewhere in the swamps.
Oh, probably was telling us the story. Places like that, though. I mean, I don't know if any of you watch or listen to the I can't remember his name, Jared King and things. He talks about a lot of the Appalachian mountain swamps and things around there, and what witches and things. His channel's much like what Mike's was. Tells you crazy stories about the Appalachian mountains.
I will say that after Mike told me, it was one night Mike was telling a story. I don't know if Pete's still in the room or not. Mike was telling this story, and he was telling me this story. It was after a show, and we were talking because we used to after the shows we'd sit for ages just talking. And he was like, "Oh, one night, he's like, he says, have you ever walking through the woods and you smell honeysuckle?" Right? And it's weird. It's weird. He says, if you smell honeysuckle, but there's no honeysuckle about, be warned, because things can trick you. And when we were out last week, that happened, didn't it? That happened on Sunday.
Twice has happened up there to us.
Never, it was no honeysuckle whatsoever. And it was weird. The Bear Men, that's it. Thank you very much, Pete. The Bear Men. The Dismal Swamp. Oh my God, that was one of Mike's. I would say, oh my, you can't. Mike's way of telling stories, right? And when he was telling us the guy in the Jeep or whatever vehicle it was, and they were trying to get home, they were going quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was reading a really, really good book. And it just makes you wonder what's living in all these swamps, doesn't it?
Jack, all the people that disappear, it makes you wonder, is it something really crazy that's caught them?
Yeah. Remember, guys, if you can...
a YouTube video, I don't even know who it was the other week there, and the man had a trail cam on his back, and he was walking up through some forest, and on his trail cam had caught a portal opening up and this Bigfoot stepping out. Now, if he, at that moment in time, had been walking past there when that portal opened, would it have sucked him in?
Maybe. Listen, guys, in the chat, and again, there's some new people. I've went and posted the link to Pete's channel, Son of the Naked Bigfoot, in the chat. Could you please go and subscribe to him? And let's get him up to 100 subscribers, because I'm looking for the stories he's got to be telling. And thank you tonight, Pete, for coming in and telling us that stuff, because that's awesome. But the bow hag, I'm going to have weird dreams tonight. Like strange hags chasing me, wanting to have its way with me and stuff like that. Oh my God.
Christopher's got to be terrified.
Wake up, I'll be able to move.
You finally let your dog in your bedroom at night now.
She comes in and lies at the bottom of the bed anyway. I thought I was getting a visitation the other night by a spirit. Before I go into the next picture that I've got here to show everybody, I thought I was having a visitation, and I was lying in my bed and it was quiet, right? And my door went open, and I'm like, oh my God, he's coming for me. Mike's coming for me beyond the grave. And the door was, and then I could hear this like a sniffing noise. And then she must have found like a crumb on the floor.
Right.
You came out, dogs do.
I know, right? My
nibble,
dog's
nibble. And then she jumped into a chair and just sat and looked at me like
that. That's collies for you.
Oh my God. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Murder Lies, the Ghost of the Savannas, right square, right? I find this quite interesting, this one, because it's an unusual murder case. Where's that picture? What do you think of that one, Drew? It looks a bit witchy, doesn't it? It does look a bit kind of witchy.
A witch that's being tortured by any chance.
Well, this is interesting. On March the 1st, 1734, so this was a while ago, a man named William Wise was found dead in his house on Hutchison Island, across from the river of the Savanna. His body was lying on a bed. His head, however, was in a large pile of water. Ooh. He still had a net scarf tied around his neck, and he looked as if he had been strangled and drowned. How do you strangle and drown somebody at the same time?
Wow.
His death was the first murder in the flooded colony of Savanna. I can't pronounce it right, I'm sorry. Savanna. If I ever go there, I'll probably be burnt at the stake. Wise had arrived in December 1733, taking up himself to sail to Savanna. Oh, God, I'm sorry again. Savanna after the
Savanna.
trustees in England backed at putting him on the charity list. He had a reputation for being somewhat shady. Talking with him, a young woman had passed off his daughter, but was in fact here we go, prostitute. Instead of sending him back to England, James put him across the river at the cattle farm.
Right.
It's quite an interesting one, this, right? So basically, I think she gets blamed for this, right?
Yeah,
I read this last.
I
just want to just switch to the chat here where I read this so as I can see he's talking. Right, here we go. Right. I've missed my place now. My screen's went off my iPhone. Right. Missing from Wise's home, his body was discovered where two of his Irish severants, Alice and Riley, had Richard White. So they were basically, right, unexpected arrived 2 months earlier on a ship with 38 others, Irish servants. Of all of them finished nearly dead from starvation. Oh my God. Wow. Fast forward 280 years to the present, you are on one of the many Savanna ghost tours. Right. So what it is she was blamed. She was blamed for his murder. You get what it was like then.
I know, exactly.
There was no like, if the finger was pointed at you, that was you. If you didn't have money, you were screwed.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was, Chris. If you didn't have money to get your way out it.
See, it's quite interesting. The complete ghostly mystery surrounding Riley's death. You might also hear she cursed the Savanna residents as she was being hanged. That Spanish moss doesn't grow on trees in the square because of her curse. See, I don't know. I'm no a gardener.
Spanish moss is actually quite a popular herb with witches. We use Spanish moss for a lot of things.
See, right, this is where Pete will come in, because I know that Pete's like a farmer and he knows his dad was like a horticulturist and he knew about plants and stuff. That's that long weed, isn't it? That's the long weed that grows down from the trees.
Yes. It's dead stringy. Yeah, it's much like dried straw. Yeah, it's quite stringy.
If you're still here, Pete, do you think there's a reason why that moss doesn't grow in the squares of Savanna? Or do you think it is a curse? See, that's goes to mystery sounds. I'm just trying to.
Well done, mystical.
For better or worse, depending on one's protective ends, Alice Riley's ghost stories all claim the Spine's murders is true based on fact. So, is it true? Is it no? But what is your story of the murder? Why is the fate Riley White? The tale. I mean, right? She cursed, and it never grew again, right?
Yeah, so, it makes you wonder, though, doesn't it? Well, I definitely believe you could probably.
I believe in curses. I believe in curses. I believe in a lot of curses.
Yeah, I think I've actually.
I'm trying to find this. Where's this one? I had one here.
The thing is, as well, a lot of people do realise that maybe she did curse the land. She maybe didn't curse the land so that everybody that walks on it dies. She maybe cursed it so that nothing grows there. So nobody can earn any money on that bit of land or anything, you know. So that's probably what she's done. Mm-hmm. Cursed it so nothing grows there at all.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose there was obviously witch trials there too at one point.
Oh, probably, yeah.
There was everything. You think a lot of the African American slaves practiced a lot of their religions?
Yeah, because I think there's quite a lot of voodoo priests and things in Savanna. Yeah, there's loads of them.
Aye. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to go back through all Mike's stuff and see what he all says. I know Savanna was mentioned quite a few times.
Well, I'm hoping that Pete does that, because I think he's got some amazing stories to be told. I mean, honestly, guys, please go and subscribe to his channel. I know he's getting the content just yet, but just give him time.
Yeah.
He puts like a video together. I think it'll be good. I think the knowledge the knowledge that Pete's got is probably amazing.
Can you imagine growing up with Mike the Naked Bigfoot, guys? Can you imagine all the stories he told you sitting at the edge of your bed and things? Blessed.
You know, there was a live that he did one night, and it was during a thunderstorm. And you weren't there, but Sherry, PWI, she was in the chat. Me and Sherry were in the chat, and Papa Jones and all that. They were on the chat, and it was during a thunderstorm. And he had a way, honestly, he was one of the most amazing people I ever know.
Yeah.
And he had a way with stories. And I was just blown away. The story with the crackles of thunder. And of course, you're sitting with noise cancelling headphones on, looking at your phone with the lights turned off. You know? I'll ask, what's that, my mystical life? I'll ask and let you know when we go there. What's that? Where'd you go in my
mystical? Savanna. She's going to go and see her son. She said that she will go up. Yeah. It is spooky, isn't it?
You need to go
Look at the hangman with the black hood on, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing place.
There was one other place that I looked at, and then I'll show you the rest of the photos that I've got. Here we go. I think this is it. A lot of drawings. What do you think of this one?
Because it was the old times, isn't it? They didn't have cameras.
This is the ghost of Fort McAllister, Savannah's haunted Civil War fort. I had to do a bit of war stuff. Most people know that the city of Savannah is haunted with all sorts of ghosts and ghouls and spirits, and even considered one of the most haunted cities in all of the United States. However, not many people realise that the entire Savannah region is more commonly known as the Low Country. I didn't get that either. Has its share of haunted locations and ghost stories, as well as Civil War fought here. The Revolutionary War fought here, and human beings were kept in chains, tortured right outside what became a modern-day city of Savannah. The history of the Fort McAllister, the haunted fort on the river. Let's see. One of these haunted locations, the Fort McAllister, is about 30 minutes south of the city of Savannah, situated along the Tranquil. Right, here we go. We've got a big word here.
Tranquility, likely.
No, it's not Quintility, it's Quincy River. Have I get that right there?
All right, the Quincy River.
Quincy River. If I've got that wrong, shoot me. Right,
it's okay.
The River Fort McAllister was built up in the original plantation of the Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Longworth. McAllister himself would ultimately die in 1864 in the midst of the Civil War battles in Virginia.
Right.
I'm obviously for Scotland. Everybody knows that by now, Jesus. And I've always had a fascination with Virginia City. I don't know what it is.
Virginia. Mm-hmm.
Virginia is a beautiful place. Can't I mean? Because that's
what
I used to smoke.
It's Heartland America, because if I ever wanted to go anywhere ghost hunting, I really do think it would be somewhere like that. I've always said that I want to go onto a little wooden bridge and see if I can contact anything. It's just because in America everybody's done a wooden bridge, yeah.
You want to go on one of the bridges with a roof, aren't you?
Yeah.
You don't get them here. You don't get them. During its history, there was 4 battles fought at Fort McAllister, used as a military fortification by the Confederate Army. For McAllister was expertly placed along the river. And many years it kept citizens of Savannah safe from attack, especially during the American Civil War. Due to the fort's strategic location, there was always at least one waterway which couldn't be used to bring trade into. So obviously they watched the ships coming in with the cannons holding it in case they were, even more precisely, it made it difficult for opposing forces to try and enter Savannah. I'm trying to get to between 1862 and 1863, the Fort McAllister was warded off, won by 7 attackers, the Union Navy. Forces that the Union tried to storm Savannah Sea was fortunate for the troops situated along McAllister. While military fortifications had been built, the Navy in mind because of the complicated earthworks. The fort had strong until 1864, that is, on the way across Georgia. See the history.
I know.
That's in this place. I mean, like, here we go. Here's the ghost. I'll tell you a wee bit of the history, guys, about the fort. I'm not going through it on its building.
That's quite a lot.
During the attacks, Fort McAllister Union and the Confederate soldiers both suffered casualties, even despite the 15 minutes that battle lasted. Of 4,000 Union soldiers who had swarmed the 120 Confederates, my God, the Confederates were everyone was nearly killed, with 71 casualties. Some of them fighting was particularly brutal, where the butt of the muskets were used. Oh my God. The brutal clubs so they were beating them, right? The combat was the norm, right? So they were coming out of the walls, they were beating them, they were stabbing them, they were doing everything, right?
Can't get them,
Aye. After the close battle, Fort McAllister served a prison camp for the Confederate soldiers. So see that, so the fort was used to keep all the Confederates
prison as well.
Along the upper Civil War. Then prisons were often forced to do manual labor. Union troops, this included digging land, trenches, digging stuff, right? The prison came anywhere near the total of travesty. The prison Fort McAllister was not all pleasant for those who were stuck. Oh dear. It seems that some of these soldiers have apparently decided to stay at the fort. Today you can see dark shadows moving. Chains rattling, you know. But the history, I mean, it was slaves, then it was soldiers, then it was slaves, and then it was back to prisoners.
Doesn't it?
Over the years, many of the Rangers have reported all sorts of ghostly phenomena and disturbing accounts of events invoke park employees to have occasionally seen a headless soldier standing outside the earth workings makes up the fort. A ghost is said to be a ghost of Major Gilly, a Confederate major who was killed at the Battle of Fort McAllister. How anyone can know his identity. If he's headless, how the hell he got a chain? Right? Whether this sight is behold. In the 1930s, Henry Ford, yes, that Henry Ford, had a fortifications on the Fort McAllister, requested to rebuild it in nearly 5,000 acres plantation. It says they asked the men doing the work to spend their nights in the fort. Oh, that's just great. But you can build it, but you're staying there. While working there, only 3 were not single at the night. The folk would run away. Oh my God, the workers when they stayed there because they would see like spirits and things moving about.
It's not that. How are they going to keep building there knowing that the people that move there is going to see all this as well?
So, ladies and gentlemen, who here would spend a Friday night, a Saturday night, and a Sunday night at the fort?
I think I would. With that one. Yeah. Yeah, with that one. It's all the dark shadows. My soul would feel it. I think I would walk out with my soul with that one. The other location, I'm not so sure I would have my soul by the end yet.
Me, we've got 2 people in the chat. Come on, who else? Come on.
Yeah, I'm not really.
The bog hag might get you though.
Well, I would take the chance. It's just that demonic spirits and things that have no chance, oils and things working around, I wouldn't entertain. I want to live another day with a soul in my body. It's my own.
I can just see it now. You sneak off for a fly cigarette because you wouldn't be allowed to smoke.
Yeah, I'd come back like
you'd be standing next to the marshland, and you would hear the bog hag. Are you still there, Pete? What did the bog hag sound like? Did you have a unique?
Probably noise? Sounded much like a bloody well yam. What do you call it?
You know, can you imagine? Taking you away, claw marks.
I know. I'm telling you, that's what that thing's meant to be. I'm sure it was Waverly House that they were in, and it was Paranormal Lockdown. I'm sure it was definitely Nick Roth, and that's what they'd filmed behind them was this thing crawling on the floor.
What do you think of that?
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Looks very haunted, but it's beautiful.
I bet it changes at night. I bet you it changes at night. I actually get some pictures of the houses just to show you, to give you a feel for the city. You know, look at that.
It's gorgeous.
Right. But here,
you can definitely imagine it being haunted, though, can't you? There's a shadow can appear anywhere with all that foliage around. Do we know how big the city actually is, Chris? What did you say it was?
Well, in when it was first built, it was 1818. Oh, no, sorry, 17. Sorry, make a mistake. There's 17. I would need to go back and read my notes, and it means going back. Was it no 1773 when it was built? Was it no 1773 or 1772?
Yeah, I think you did say something like that.
I mean, obviously it's millions now. It's got a population of millions now.
Yeah.
It's quite big, you know. I mean,
like size of London, maybe. Bigger than London.
I would say a wee bit weirder than London, or maybe no. I don't know. I've not really looked at that aspect. I found this. This is the Colonel Park. This cemetery is the second in going Savanna. It's quite interesting. I need to go closer and get a pair of binoculars.
Colonial Park.
Aye, it's
1776.
Yeah, aye, 1776. And then it says that the Colonial Cemetery, second Savanna, burying ground for the city from 1750 until it was closed against burial in 1853. So the last grave in there was 1853.
1853. So that's still 300, 400 years, really.
Yeah. And then we'll get another one. What's this one? Edward Green, Melbourne, 1777 to 1807. Beneath the modest slab rests the remains of America's foursome printer. And honestly, just pause this, guys, when you're watching this back. You have no idea the history.
There's quite a lot of famous people then, people of substance, I mean, like maybe inventors and things probably there as well then.
There's a lot of folk there. It's
a
famous place.
Right.
I mean, I think we need to I think we go Squad Scotland needs to go to America. What do you think?
Oh, I imagine we could. That would be a dream come true. It's not
if
impossible.
Where would you go?
I would go probably. I would aim for Tennessee to see Mystical.
Right, Tennessee. That's where the bourbon's made, isn't it?
Don't know, but I would trust Mystical to find somewhere for us to ghost hunt, and I would just go there because I know that Mystical can take us somewhere really haunted. She just needs to step out her front door.
You know, I mean,
yeah, we go somewhere like that, and maybe we all could travel into somewhere that we know has got a few locations, even if we had to stay somewhere, you know.
I think
it's impossible. You could plan like these things like 2 and 3 years in advance. Look at the global ghost hunt. That was planned 2 years ago, and it's now coming to fruition. So we could definitely do something, plan it.
So there we
just
go.
Have to plan it out.
In 2 years' time, we could be in America doing a ghost hunt. You never know how the channel. I mean, you've got to remember how the channel grows. We're nearly at 1,000. What is it? 300 subscribers.
Exactly, and then there's my channel as well. It's nearly 1,200. If we were going to do something like that, we would do a combined project, obviously. So it's not impossible, guys. Just keep an eye out on locations that you want us to go to in Scotland, and we'll definitely try and make it our dream to go to America.
Where are we going on Sunday?
We need to build this channel up, though. Where are we going? Oh, we're going to the Witches Cemetery on Sunday.
The Witches Cemetery, ladies and gentlemen. Oh.
We have heard witchy cackles there twice, guys. We have.
The graveyards from probably the year 13th, 14th century.
The copper and things is coming right up through the headstones. That's how old it is. I will definitely have to take an offering. If there's another witch there, I'm going to have to take an offering because I'm no risking getting attacked like I did the last time with the witch up Lover's Lane.
The last time I was there, I went just for a drive for the day, and I was in the graveyard, and someone had been doing something naughty. I don't know what they were doing. It was like a wee pentagram kind of thing. It was set up.
Yes, Mystical says it could have been like a little ornament to an ancestor.
I don't know these kind of things. I've noticed a lot of the graves are Masonic too, which is
could have been the Masonic star.
It could have been, but somebody had made it up with candles and stuff like that in the ground next to the graves. It's
could be an ancestor on them.
So I would do a live for the location, but there's no much of a signal.
We'll try, guys. If we can get it, we'll do it. If we can't, we'll just film.
What we'll do is we'll do a video there, and then if I can go live, I'll go live for the location.
Yeah.
I think that would be quite interesting. And you never know, there might be a strange creature comes up.
Mystical maybe see something live this week, guys.
Yeah.
And Phoenix, of course, and Shera. They might see something live this week. But that's what we'll do. We'll try and build the channels up, get you all interesting places, guys, so that both channels grow and grow and grow, and we earn more money and more money, and we'll always go back into the channels. It will always go back in, and we'll try and get to great locations for you.
There's out there with Papa Joe and Uncle Tam. That's
Welcome, Papa Joe.
that was one of Mike's friends
Yes,
there.
Mike's friends.
It's good
Welcome.
to see you. I hope these are all well. It's really
Welcome,
good to see
Uncle
you guys.
Tom.
Was
Nice
that Christine? Here's Christine. She would love to investigate Stonehenge.
Yes, see, they're there as well. It's not impossible.
You can't get in there anymore, though, because folk were going and pinching bits of the stone.
Yeah, you can go in at certain points of the year, though. They do open it up to the public. They've just got stewards and things that walk around, so it's not impossible either to get a tour of the stones. You have to just do it the proper way and ask permission.
We need to go to Scotland, Stonehenge. You know the one with Billy Connolly, where he ran round about it?
And Scotland's Pyramid. We'll need to go there. Not the one at Stirling, the other one.
Can I tell you where that is, ladies and gentlemen? You know,
because we don't know. We'll find it.
I will find it.
But there's loads of interesting places.
Do you have any shows on tomorrow, Drew?
Usually one of us try and go live on a Saturday night, yeah. So definitely keep an eye out on all the channels, guys, because I don't know if maybe I or Mystical or Sister Sherry or somebody will maybe go live.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you very much for coming tonight. Please check out Bald and Bonkers tomorrow night. We're talking about strange deaths, people in the conspiracy field that have talked about, like saying they know things about aliens and that, and mysteriously they've died.
Oh, wow. Did they ever find that man that said that he was filming, was it a giant? And he disappeared. Do you know what I'm talking about? He said he was filming a giant on a hill and he disappeared after. Do you know who I'm talking about? I'm terrible with names, guys.
He disappeared. He just disappeared.
Yeah, he disappeared. Nobody's ever seen him since. So he's still disappeared. That's terrible. Wow.
Yeah. So pop into Bald and Bonkers tomorrow, guys, and watch the show. And remember, check out Drew's channel.
Thank you.
Drew's channel. Please check out My Mystical Light. What is it? My Mystical Light. I get the name wrong all the time. Got to end up in a jar.
That's okay, Christopher. You made her a great thumbnail and a great trailer and things.
I've got my jar ready. Got to stay in it.
She told you you've no fairyland in a jar now.
That's all right then.
So, ladies and
that's very true. That's very true. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody that's came tonight. There's 22 people watching us right now. And I would honestly like to say to the new subscribers, thank you very much for coming in and giving me a subscribe, guys. Honestly, really, really, really appreciate it. I didn't think the channel would grow in nearly 7 months. Look where we are now. We're nearly at 2,000 subscribers. We've got nearly 22 people watching the lives. Yeah, I mean, remember next month we've got Bishop Brian coming on. That'll be interesting.
Anyway, I still can't believe it, guys. It doesn't give interviews on YouTube at all.
No.
And he wants to talk to us. It's amazing.
It's because I've got the gift of the gab, as one would say. You know why it is he loves Scottish whiskey and that. He's got a thing about Scottish people.
Right. Okay.
You know. So I think you'll all enjoy the interview with Bishop Brian. I think that, of course, we've also got a couple of other shows. Let's see what else. Let's have a quick look at the shows that's coming up.
We're talking about the Talkie House. Remember, that is Scotland's poltergeist house. We're going to talk about that.
That's right. And we've also got Haunted Scotland, the Clyde Blank Blitz.
That'll be good. That's going to be interesting.
A lot of people were killed that day.
Yeah.
And honestly, we've got so many interesting shows coming to the channel, guys, and you never know, we might go live on Sunday, you know. Yep. And I'm going to be doing a wee special thing, Tate, for once we're monetized. I'm going to be doing like a special thing for special subscribers, Tate, but I have to keep secret about that because I can't.
Keep an eye out, guys. It's going to be good. We've got plenty of things lined up.
Yeah. So, everybody, catch you all later. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you all tomorrow with Drew and Bald and Bonkers.
Thank you, guys. Blessings for now.
Thank you for joining us on this exciting adventure with Ghost Squad Scotland. Our team of experienced ghost hunters use the latest technology to explore the paranormal and uncover the truth about the unknown. Don't forget that we're affiliated with Spirit Shack, the UK's premier ghost hunting equipment store, so you can trust our equipment to be top-notch. Plus, we have exclusive Ghost Squad Scotland merch available on our Zazzle store, so you can show your support for the team in style. And if you can't get enough of our ghost hunting adventures, be sure to tune into the Bald and Bonkers TV network to catch our show in action. Content creators can even have their own content syndicated on the network, or create their own custom online TV channel by visiting baldandbonkers.net. Thank you for your support. And remember to always keep an open mind as we continue to explore the mysteries of the paranormal with Ghost Squad Scotland.